Okay, welcome to the May 25th Thursday chat. We have a few announcements and then one presentation from David Rader before we go on with Matt. So we'll start with you, Terry Union. Go ahead. You have to unmute. I'll do it.
Oh, okay.
You're
Sorry.
all-
I
yeah.
said, I know we have a lot of new residents and I hope many of them are on the Zoom, and welcome to Newbridge if you are. And just wanted to make everybody aware that we have a very vibrant committee on the environment and would welcome your participation if you would like to be engaged. And if you look in your new residents handbook, you will see a posting about the environmental committee and who are the leaders of that committee, and you can call either Mary Jane Milner or Linda Weinstein or me, and we will be glad to help you become engaged. We certainly hope you will be engaged in recycling and other kinds of composting things that are going on to help save our climate. So welcome, and please let us hear from you. Thanks.
Thank you. Benita Ross.
Thank you, Jerry. I have a couple of questions for everyone on the call today. Have you ever marveled at the natural beauty of this gorgeous Newbridge campus and wondered about how it all comes together? Do you enjoy the seasonal rhythm and creative organization of this complex and challenging environment? The Newbridge Residence Landscape Committee's purpose is to understand and provide feedback to management in an advisory role for matters relating to the campus landscaping needs and its effect on the residents of Newbridge and on the Charles. So the Landscape Committee now has 2 openings for members to join. Anyone interested needs to be a resident for at least 6 months and provide a brief 1-paragraph statement as to why you'd like to join us. And the appointment is for a 3-year term. We would love to have people join us. We only expect really that someone attend all the meetings that are monthly and to be engaged in the agenda items and the discussions that we have. We're coming into spring. We're in spring now. It's a beautiful time of year. And we really hope that those of you who have an interest in landscaping will give some thought to joining us. Please be in touch with me. This will go out in Matt's letter tomorrow, and there will be a notice in the Cubbies. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. And Linda Weinstein.
Hi, friends and neighbors. I just thought many of you would like to know in advance, because I know our calendars get so crowded, that on Monday, June 12th, which is the second Monday of the month at 11 in the morning, that's an unusual time for a speaker, but that's when we could get him. We have a real coup. Bill McKibben, who's from Vermont. You may recognize him as a really prolific author, journalist, and the founder of something called 350.org many, many years ago when environmental issues were not on anybody's agenda. He has a connection to the Boston area, graduated from Harvard, lived in Lexington for a while, and he started something called Third Act. If any of you wondered where we are in our third act, and he's going to talk about, he's going to inspire us about being in our third act. So it's going to be fun. And as I said, we've adjusted the calendar, or Larissa's helped us to adjust the calendar to accommodate his schedule. So I look forward to seeing you June 12th, Monday, 11 a.m. Thanks.
Thank you. And Naomi Webb. Wait a minute, we have to unmute you. Hold on.
Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead now, Naomi.
All right, good afternoon. I'd like to announce the forming of a new group here in Newbridge, exploring quilts and the changes in quilting over the generations and centuries. We'll be having classes, demos, challenges, etc. Everyone is welcome. No experience is necessary. Just join us for a pleasant morning of discovery. It'll be on starting June 6th, which is a Tuesday morning at 10 in the Art Studio. Hopefully it'll be a weekly, but Tuesday morning, June 6th. June 6th, yeah. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And Larissa, before I go on to David, you have anything that you want to announce?
Oh, sure. I was not planning, but I definitely will take an opportunity. Thank you so much. So I know that Monday is Memorial Day, so I want to make sure everybody is aware that Opera Course will be happening this Monday. We're not canceling it. And even more, we have a very special presenter at 2:00. Professor Eugene Colgan, who is a wise young man who many of you appreciated through his courses last year, is coming with the topic that is dear to my heart, but I also think interesting and important to everybody. He will talk about how war in Ukraine affects all of us, what it means. So just making sure that you are not thinking, oh, it's a mistake, Memorial Day, everything is canceled. Some things are canceled and some things are not. So we hope to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, David Rada.
Thank you, Jerry, and good to see everybody. I have the honor of sharing with you, along with my colleagues, the results from our Spring 2023 Customer Satisfaction Survey, which focused on your general thoughts about living at Newbridge, a few community life questions, and a handful of dining questions. So I'll start with the general questions. Jerry, if I'm going to share my screen with everybody.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on here. Share screen. Let's see. Okay. Let me just switch to slideshow here. There we go. Okay. So many of the questions on the survey this year were a repeat from 2022, which we introduced for the first time. So we're able to actually see how we performed year over year. Okay, so here's the agenda. First of all, I just wanted to thank everybody for your participation. We had 191 responses between the paper survey and the Survey Monkeys, and that was plus 22 from 2022. We were really thrilled with last year's turnout and participation. So this year was even better. So thank you. The responses are only as good as the if we get a critical mass of people. So the fact that we had probably 2/3 of residents participate was really great. So I'm gonna walk you through some of the key results. Unlike last year, I'm not gonna bombard you with statistics. We're gonna go through each question and sort of share some overall highlights. In Matt's letter tomorrow, you'll find a more detailed description of all of the questions and all of the results. So for those of you who want to do a deeper dive into the survey, that'll be attached to the newsletter tomorrow. Okay. So I'm going to take the first 4 questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to Larissa for the next, for the community life questions, and then Josh will jump in for the dining questions. So we asked these 4 general questions, and I want to point out that this is not a case of us boasting of these results. The results, certainly of the first 4 questions, were really extraordinary, and it really speaks to the strength of the community we have. Some of these results are really the result of residents feeling welcomed at Newbridge, feeling a part of the community, and having a real sense of pride. So this first question, I am happy with my choice to live at Newbridge. 96% of you answered either most of the time or all of the time, which is an incredible, incredible number that was similar to our results from 2022. The second question, Newbridge feels like home to me. 85% answered most or all of the time, which again is a really great number, and was about the same as 2022. The third question was, I feel part of the Newbridge community. This is where 84% answered most or all of the time, which represented a 2% increase from 2022. And finally, the last question, which we had the biggest increase, was, I would recommend Newbridge to others, which is really, out of all the questions we have, is really the gold standard of how people are feeling about living at Newbridge. So for this question, 95% answered most or all of the time, which was a 6% increase from 2022. So that is a significant jump from a number that was already high. The percentage of people who answered always recommend went from 60% to 67%. So again, this is really a testament to how strong this community is. And everybody on this call and everybody who lives and works at Newbridge should be really proud of where we are and where we're going as a community. And with that, I'm going to go to the next slide and turn it over to Larissa to talk about the community life portion.
Thank you, David. All right. So I'm going to try to do it in a way that I can see the result.
Oh, can you see? Yeah, you can. You should be able to see.
I can see it. I can see. So the question that we put this year are the similar question that we did last year. We wanted a continuity and an opportunity to compare your opinions through the years. And the first question was, overall, how well is community life meeting your expectations? And the categories were exceeding expectations, meeting expectations, and not meeting expectations. What we've noticed that it was a moderate improvement in all the categories, but to highlight some, exceeding expectation increased 10% in intellectual lectures, 13% in concerts, 11% in fitness, and 10% in outings. We were actually pleased with the results last year, but it is very good to know that we are going in a good direction and that what we are doing not only meets, but exceeds your expectations. The second question was, let us know the types of the programs you would like more or less, or if the current amount is about right. I will share with you that I personally love the most the comment that came from one resident saying, I am greedy, I want more. And for me, it's what this community is about. To the level of involvement and engagement that we've been experiencing after pandemic is absolutely remarkable. Okay, but let's talk about numbers. So majority of the residents answered about right in all categories. Fitness, outings, lectures, and courses answers increased 11%. And we can attest to it. We do see we see more participation in all these categories. And we are very pleased. For example, in the category of the outings, last year our numbers were not as flattering, and it was just us coming out of pandemic. And we are very happy to see that we were able to meet your expectations and bring more cultural and other type of outings to the community. David, thank you. Okay. So then we ask you a question that you ask us for the last at least 6 months, and it was about your preference on when we start our evening programs. Actually, the result was not the one that I anticipated, and I will tell you why. A few years before pandemic, we had the similar survey, and the result was 51% of the residents wanted us to start evening programs at 7:30. And 49% of the residents wanted us to start evening programs at 7:45. So I think at this point, the answer is more clear because we see that a significant amount of residents prefer 7:30 as the starting time for our evening programs. So this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna move gradually. My target date would be July 1st. I will start working with all our evening performers, making sure that they are available at 7:30. You may see a little bit of 7:30 of 8 in let's say July, August, but down the road, we will be starting our evening programs at 7:30. And then we were having a question about the channel 918 and how frequently you watch the channel, and more importantly, what kind of programs you watch. Well, the result was not surprising. We have an absolute winner that we knew we are going to have. So as you can see, that resident chat is an ultimate winner, that 62% of the residents say that they watch regularly resident chat on channel 918. A few other things that we wanted to mention is that 83% of people who answered our questions answered sometimes or regularly watching movies on channel 918. 68% of the residents said that they never watch fitness videos on the channel, and 55% of the residents said they never watch Shabbat services on the channel. So now you might ask, what is next? And I have something that is not reflective on this in this PowerPoint presentation, because it is a new development that just happened yesterday that I would like to share with you. So our IT team performed some sort of a miracle, and they were able to put a temporary patch on the equipment that makes channel 918 work. And we did a test yesterday, and it seemed to work. So being realistic, we don't really know how long this patch is gonna work, and we are not looking at it as some consistent solution. What we think of that we got an opportunity, we sort of bought a little bit of a time, like to have this Band-Aid that allows us to do what we promised we're gonna do, to look at the big wave of upgrading the equipment associated with channel 918. And it's not only the internet browser per se, but also improvement the quality of live stream from Great Meadow Hall, creating a sustainable network that allows the stability of receiving the stream through the channel. And who knows, maybe we're gonna even explore high resolution. So what it means for now? It means for now that based on what we see from this feedback that you gave us, this is what we're gonna do for now. We're gonna continue showing evening movies on channel 918, and starting next week, we will broadcast Jerry's chat on channel 918 as well. So this is our plan in this regard. And David, if you move to the next slide. Oh, I think it was another slide about the next
Oh, this
step.
one.
Okay, thank you so much. So what we felt was valuable last year, that after we shared the survey results with you, we also had some follow-up discussions when we allowed an opportunity to sit with you and have an informal conversation with some practical suggestions, what you think we could do better or differently or add. So we'd like to do it again. And we have scheduled this discussion session for Tuesday, June 6th at 2 o'clock in the synagogue. And we hope to see many of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Larissa.
Hey, I have a question. I've never asked a question, but are you also going to broadcast this chat Saturday as you used to at noon?
So at this point, we are committed to show it live, then to upload it on our YouTube channel and make the link available for the residents this way, but also through the constant contact. We really don't know, and believe it or not, IT genius that did this also did not give us any promises. We don't want to overload the connection. So we want to play safe and see how it goes. So this is the plan for the close future.
Okay, thank you. So we have a couple of other questions. Do you want to break now and take them, or do you want to wait till the end?
Up to you. I'm open to.
What do you think, Josh?
I'm up for either.
All right, let's I'm going to stop the share and we'll answer a couple of questions, and then we got to make sure we get back to the dining piece.
Okay, Carol Klingon.
Larissa, you didn't mention anything about broadcasting the programming in the afternoon or in the evening, which used to also be an option.
So we used to broadcast lectures from Great Meadow Hall. You are correct. At this time, we cannot commit doing it. This is something that we will consider in the future when we come with a permanent solution of the channel. And if you ask me why there is more than one reason, it is a technical reason, but it is also a question that we recognize that the quality of live stream from the Great Meadow Hall desires to be much better. And we cannot really provide a better quality at this time with the equipment that we have, but we will absolutely consider it. That's why I said that when we look at this major upgrade that we're brewing behind the scene, improvement of the quality of live stream is one, I would say number one.
Okay.
Number one.
Thank you. David Salkova. Oh, you're here.
Yeah, but two things, Larissa. One is in terms of the viewership of 918. I just want to make sure that the committee is also thinking about not just the percentages who do or don't, but also the fact that 918 does play a role as kind of a backup when people who might normally be watching might normally be attending something in person need a way to see that same event if it happens that they're not able to to travel down to the Great Meadow Hall or wherever. So that's just a comment.
Sure, David.
I have a question about the scheduling of the concerts. I think the scheduling shouldn't be considered in sort of in the absence of thinking about the scheduling of the dining facilities. There are certainly lots of times that I can think of where we found ourselves somewhat past 7:30 still in the in Centro or in Nosh. And I think the shift in the timing of the events from 8 to 7:30 in Great Meadow Hall may have some impact on getting people, encouraging people to show up earlier, and that this may present some issues in terms of how the dining services are scheduled and staffed and the timing of those things.
Sounds like that's
Yeah.
the kind of thing you're
Hey.
going to take care of it on the Tuesday meeting, or am I wrong? Where you're going to have a discussion and input.
No,
So wait, may I?
yeah, go ahead.
May
Go
I,
ahead.
David, you're absolutely right. And we would not have made this decision without speaking with our colleagues from culinary team. Actually, the way we even decided to put it on the survey was a result of our conversations with our colleagues and them giving us green light to explore it further. We did not do it sooner because we did not want to put pressure on anybody. And if in a year we feel differently, we can always revisit it. But back to your question, you're absolutely right. We would not have made this decision without discussing it with our colleagues at Food and Beverage team.
This does obviously raise a question about whether, maybe it's a question for Josh, whether this has some implications that needs to be considered in terms of the scheduling and the staffing of the dining services.
Okay, we're going to move on from that. Maya, fine.
Yeah, you answered the question, but I couldn't understand it with regard to Saturday broadcast of this. It's going to be available.
It's going to be available on Newbridge YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
traditionally, it will be a Friday email with direct link to make it even easier.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Stan Treitman.
Well, you may have just answered my question, but I wonder how soon it's going to get up onto that YouTube channel, because I couldn't, 2 days later after last week, I couldn't get it.
So it is actually my fault, Stan. I was very short-staffed and I did not really have a bandwidth to cover everything. I did not do it. So
They're up now.
My apologies.
It is current, so you can see them now.
Okay, so my teammate is back and you can count on having it.
Okay, thank you. Paul Chavinsky.
Paul, I hope you're happy.
The problem with receiving things from Great Meadow Hall in the afternoon is primarily, I think, an audio problem. And I was wondering if closed captions would help to solve that if it could be implemented.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Other comment I have is about when this time, as you know, I've been a staunch advocate of moving to 7:30.
I hope you would start with
because when I
Larissa.
leave the
Great.
dining room at just before 7:30, there's nobody ever there, except maybe 4 people. So I'm not sure what the problem is.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for your comment. Yeah, we need to look in both visual and sound. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
Okay, thanks, everybody. So I'm going to share my screen again, Jerry, and we'll give Josh an opportunity to share the dining results with you all. Just bear with me for a quick sec.
I can see it.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you, David. And I certainly also want to echo the sentiment of David's gratitude for all the community members that participated in the survey. The information that we were able to procure, both with the general numbers in the responses to these questions, plus the additional comments that we were able to share with the team certainly allowed us to identify some areas of opportunity and also to celebrate some areas of improvement that have already been made over versus the prior year. So thank you to all. So quickly here, the hours of the dining room meet my needs. 91% of those that participated answered most or all of the time, which was really no significant change from the previous year of 2022. I am pleased with the attentiveness and promptness of service in the dining room. This was certainly a reason for celebration, as 90% answered most or all of the time, which was a 12% increase from 2022. We're very happy with that. As you have seen, we were able to bring in quite a few new staff members, particularly with the student program and bringing in students and some from the local schools to help with the staffing issues, and they have been very well received. So that is really, really good to hear and see. Number 3, I am generally pleased with the quality of the meals served. So this is 69% answered most or all of the time. So certainly continued areas of opportunity here to get that number up, but still to celebrate a 4% increase over the 2022 survey results. The dining room staff, number 4, the members are friendly and courteous. 60% answered all the time. No significant change from prior year. But still, again, I think when we added the most of the time to that, we were very close to almost 100%. It was 90-some% if you had added in the most of the time. So again, I really do appreciate those relationships between the staff members in the community. And finally, this specific question, number 5, overall, I enjoy the dining experience at Newbridge. 82% combined for most or all of the time. No significant change from 2022. So in addition to looking at these questions and sharing them with the entire food and beverage team, we also did a deeper dive. As those of you that participated in the survey, there were some opportunity to answer, to add comments anonymously. And we were able to identify some patterns or consensus, if you will, and we were able to share that with the team to identify some areas of opportunity. In addition, we have also shared these results with our culinary partners, the consultants Third Plus. So they have seen this, and they now have, kind of a starting point to see where we have come from the previous year, and also to help us identify the areas of opportunity I mentioned and put forth a plan to address that. So again, my thanks for those of you that participated. And overall, I'm really proud to see that the team, from the attentiveness and promptness, that was a great takeaway. And we did share that not only with the food and beverage managers, but also with the line level staff, because that was certainly some comments and some feedback that we were happy to communicate and celebrate. So thank you, David.
Sure. Thank you, Josh. And just to wrap up, just a reminder that in tomorrow's newsletter will be all of the results from all of the questions, but we will not be sharing all of the comments. So, so you'll see all of the results tomorrow. So thank you, Jerry. Thanks, Larissa and Josh. And I send it back to you.
Thank you. Before we go to Matt, Judy Ehrlich, I'm sorry I missed your note to make an announcement. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jerry. My announcement is very short. I want to wish all those who are going to be celebrating Shavuot a Chag Sameach, a happy holiday, and to remind those of you who might like to participate in a Shavuot morning service, including the Yizkor Memorial Service. It will take place tomorrow morning from 10:30 till just before noon. I'll be leading it together with Rabbi Karen Landy, and we will have wonderful musical accompaniment and singing from our cantorial soloist, Lisa Marcus Jones, who happens to be related to Judy Goldman. It's her daughter. So for all those good reasons, I hope to see you there if this is something that would be meaningful to you. Thanks. That's it.
Thank you, Judy. Okay, Matt, we're ready for you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I want to start off by acknowledging Memorial Day on Monday and just giving thanks to all those that served and have lost their lives in protecting our nation and giving us the freedoms that we have. And I think as the years go on, Memorial Day becomes about long weekends and celebrating with friends and all this other stuff. And I think we're losing touch a little bit about what it's supposed to be about. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that. And for all of you that have lost loved ones, family, friends that have served, thank you to them for their sacrifice and to you. I just want to acknowledge that for a moment. I also just want to say that, you know, guys, great job sharing the survey results. I was overall pretty pleased to see what was in there. And Larissa, nice job speaking about programming. Specifically with 918, I just want to ground everybody. 918 was something that was patched together and created because of the pandemic, because people were not able to go to program. And so Larissa took on this task during the pandemic in lieu of her current role of providing programs live. And so now the expectation for her has become provide 918 and provide live programming. Yet her staffing hasn't increased and she's still working with 14-year-old equipment. And she's making all this stuff happen. So to you, Larissa, I just want to say thank you publicly. I think that's incredible. And you've taken on quite a bit to make it happen. So yesterday was quite a day for us in administration, as you can probably imagine. Replacing a transformer on a campus this size is no easy feat. It took months of planning. And when we were finally ready to replace the transformer, they sent us the wrong transformer that needed correct taps placed on there. So it got pushed out till this time of year. So in the meantime, we had been renting a transformer because we didn't want to shut off power to the campus when it was too cold or too hot. So yesterday was our chance and we got it done. For those of you that were able to see the massive crane on campus, it was quite a thing to be done. Took a ton of coordination. You know, the deal is plan A doesn't always work out and we know that. So we plan for plan B, and plan B didn't necessarily work the way we anticipated yesterday either. So we went to plan C and most of plan C worked really well, but we had to make up plan D on the fly, which was meal service. And the reason that was very, very late in the morning, almost near noontime, we learned that the kitchen hoods were actually tied into the transformers when in fact we thought they were tied into a different set of transformers. And so we couldn't cook, which is why we ended up doing last minute meal service. I know Fernando has some pretty amazing pictures. Fernando, if you're there, I'd love to share a couple of those with the community, because this is something as an executive director that you don't particularly take on very often. This was quite strange. So, but it was.
I'm here, Matt. I'm sorry. Is it possible for me to share my screen?
Hold on.
Okay, terrific. So but while you're doing that,
now you can go ahead, Fernando.
I want to say thank you to the community for your patience. One thing that was a win was Fernando and his team were able to figure out how to keep power on for most of the day in the 5,000 building apartments, which was really, really great. We were not expecting that. So this was a big project. So here you go. You can see the crane here. Now, the impressive part about this crane is on the back side of the crane, you can actually see the counterweights. That's how much weight was needed to keep the crane actually balanced while lifting up and taking out the transformer and putting in the new one. In fact, fascinatingly enough, they had to remove 500 gallons of oil from it before they lifted it to make sure the weight wasn't too much for the crane.
Another thing, Matt, if I may, is the counterweights on this machine was 95 tons. That's how much counterweight they needed in order to lift this transformer into place. I'm just going to scroll through these pictures real quick. That was
Yes,
the
please
actual
do.
crane as they were setting it up. This next picture kind of gives you an idea of how big this crane actually is. That's the AL building. You can see how much it towers over the AL building.
And so from an operational standpoint, you can see we had to change parking. We had to come up with contingency plans for IL apartments not having electricity. We had to figure out what to do with meal service once that happened. We had to work on communications. There was just, it was a great day because you got to see what the team was capable of. And it's also a great day because this is done, finally.
Yeah. This here is when they were actually setting it in place. For those of you who don't know where this transformer was, if you were to walk into Great Meadow Hall and you went straight across Great Meadow Hall to the exit doors that went out the back side, that's where this transformer was. So that's where they had to pick it from. And they had to come up over these trees here and over the healthcare center in order to drop it. This next picture is actually the transformer itself as they were lowering it into place. As you can see here are all the electrical cables. We had to disconnect and reconnect 96 cables had to be disconnected and reconnected in order to get the power back on. So, like I said, a lot of you folks don't see what really went on over on this side. So I just took some pictures so you can see what it kind of entailed, what it took. So, and thanks for your patience. Like Matt said, it was a long time coming. Now that it's done and over with, we can move on.
Thank you, Fernando. You and your team were incredible, and to the culinary team as well for just responding on the fly. So that's done. So great job. I'm going to switch gears and talk about COVID for a moment. I want to publicly acknowledge those employees that put on the COVID clinic today. 210 residents received their vaccines today, which is absolutely phenomenal. So wonderful job there. As far as COVID in the Commonwealth here in Massachusetts, there's about 5 cases per 100,000 people right now, which is extremely low. It's one of the lower numbers we've seen. And in our county, there's 3.6 cases per 100,000. So as far as the COVID risk right now, it's about as low as it gets. Enjoy it. It is warm outside and people are outside, so let's take advantage of it while we can. Over the last 2 weeks, there's been a 16% decline in the amount of COVID cases in the Commonwealth. So we continue to see that number plummeting, which is overall very good news. I'm going to stop for any questions right now related to COVID.
Don't see. Go ahead.
Silence is a good thing. I know this meeting is running a little bit long, so I'll pick it up. In my letter, you're going to see a notice that's going out to the cottage residents. This is for all you cottage residents. They're going to be doing preventative maintenance on the air conditioning in your cottage. And there's a schedule attached to my letter. So this process begins on Tuesday, May 30th, and it runs till Friday, June 12th. And in the schedule, it tells you what day and which cottages will be done on that day. And the work is scheduled to begin at 8 a.m. and go to 4 p.m. So if you live in a cottage, please open my letter. Please look for the attachments in the letter. It's going to give you a schedule about when the maintenance is going to be done on your air conditioning. Also in line, since Monday is a holiday, there's no housekeeping. So also attached to my letter is the housekeeping coverage schedule. So for anyone who has housekeeping scheduled for Monday, units scheduled for cleaning will take place on Thursday, June 1st. Units scheduled for Thursday, June 1st will resume on Thursday, June 8th. This will also be in my letter. So if you need it, please take a peek. It's good to know.
We got a few questions.
Let's do it because I'm out of information to share too.
Elaine Canonsburg, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Matt, do they need to come into the cottage to do any of the maintenance on the air conditioning?
Fernando, I'm going to let you handle that one.
Yeah, they'll definitely have to access your garage area where the mechanical room is out there, and some of them they may need to access, but that will be well after 9 o'clock. At 8 o'clock they'll be starting outside, so they won't be bothering you before like 9 o'clock if they have to come in.
The time isn't the question. We're out of town, so that's what I was asking about.
If you're out of town, we'll let ourselves into your garage area and we'll take care of it.
Okay, not a problem.
You don't necessarily have to be home during that time when we're working. But if you prefer that we do not enter your apartment while you are gone, if you can just call Josie and let her know, and then we can kind of schedule around that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine.
Okay. Terry, you took your hand down. Here, go ahead. You're unmuted.
I said Helene asked the same question I was going to ask.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go back.
Everybody covered.
Yeah. Everybody's covered.
And that's it for me, Jerry. Thank you very much.
Okay, if we've forgotten anybody with all of this, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Hi, everybody.